Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have even more horrible news going on today from this continuing story going on with the most recent PlayStation acquisition of Bungie. Now, as you guys may or may not have seen yesterday, there was a huge, massive layoff that happened to the company itself, and a lot of basically people in the PlayStation ecosystem are very concerned about Bungie, but as well for the future of Destiny 2. And on top of that, well, apparently the game has been doing horribly. Now, this is going to be very, very scary to go and see, and especially on the topic of live service games. But right now, there's been, well, a lot more bad news that came out. CEOs are talking, people are bringing stuff on up, and overall, just it's not good to go and see. So I'm going to talk about this all throughout this video as well. Happy Halloween to all of you lovely folks. We have a brand new promotion going on with all the Best Buy. We actually have all the upcoming Best games coming out over here for Best Buy, all linked down below in the description and comment section, so check those on out. And of course, we're doing some spooky stuff over here on Twitch in case you guys are bored, so follow that up as of tonight or on the Twitter, either or, and let's dive into the video itself. So as I mentioned, we didn't really see the best news that came out as of yesterday. Bungie announced and publicized that they had a lot of proper layoffs coming out when it came to community managers, when it came to actual engineers and people working on the game. There was also really horrendous news that one of the Destiny 2 expansions was actually getting delayed by multiple months. And a lot of people in the Destiny community were really upset about that. Basically, it's just a huge AAA version of their next upcoming expansion. It was delayed out by 3 months or 4 months, depending. And of course, as well, that means that the current ongoing game cycle is even more dry. This is also after one of the world's worst received Destiny 2 expansions. So far, it kind of seems like Sony maybe didn't really make a good decision so far in buying Bungie, but we'll see how it kind of goes out from there. That also did go, meaning that Marathon was also then as well delayed to 2025, which a lot of folks are very upset about. But now there's even more brand new news, both from IGN as well as also when it comes to Bloomberg, discussing this horrendous news when it comes to these layoffs, saying, that's kind of the high-level topics before we kind of dive into a little bit more. Bungie laid off apparently 8% of staff on Monday, or around over 100 people. Sources tell Bloomberg. 2 weeks ago, staff were told that they were projected to miss revenue targets by 45%. That is horrible. Employees were galvanized to get things back on track. Then came surprised layoffs. So first, let me go do a bit of a talk into the whole Bloomberg side. So the sales at the studio were running 45% below projections for the year over for Destiny 2, and this is right after PlayStation literally bought this, saying layoffs are a part of a bigger revamp at Sony PlayStation unit. But we've also now been hearing even more drama that the CEO was actually claiming this was purely for PlayStation, but some folks are now saying that the CEO and the higher-ups at Bungie were actually the ones that were in control the entire time, which is also a really bad look, I would say, for all the folks at Bungie, if that's true, because they're trying to go and push that blame into PlayStation and try to take the blame off the executives, while at the same exact time, if that's not true, that means they're all just lying to everyone. So, horrible. So basically, Bungie's decision to drop an estimated 100 jobs from its staff of about 1,200 followed dire management warnings earlier this month of a sharp drop in the popularity of its flagship video game, Destiny 2. And as of right this second, there is basically no other big game out there when it comes to, well, Bungie. They have a few games in the works. I think they have a fighting game in the works. I think they might have an MMO in the works. They also, I think, have another small unannounced title. And of course, Marathon, which had a lot of popularization when it came to their trailer that had a lot of views and a lot of folks excited for it for a pure PvP-based game. Mainly because that's what Destiny's kind of lacking on. And obviously, Halo is always known for its PvP. So you probably assume that Bungie can make a pretty good PvP game. But as of now, that's also delayed. Just 2 weeks ago, apparently, executives at the Sony-owned game developer told employees that revenue was running 45% below projections for the year, according to the people who attended the meeting. So basically, people who want to go make money and want to go and get, like, they want to make sure PlayStation Big Daddy, who just bought them, is happy. They basically had the world's worst time right off the pandemic, where a lot of folks are playing games and spending money on microtransactions. And then part two of that was also issues where, well, they just didn't make a lot of money. The DLC did relatively okay in terms of sales, but obviously for a live service style game, you want to have new players joining, as well as also selling things like microtransactions or things like silver in the game, which you could buy cooler outfits, etc., etc. So the chief executive officer, P. Parsons, pinned the big miss on weak player retention for Destiny 2, which has faced a poor reception since the release of the latest expansion, Lightfall. The next expansion, the final shape, was getting good, not great, feedback, and the management told those present that they plan to push back the release to June 2024 from February, according to the people who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to speak publicly. The additional time would be given to developers basically a chance to improve the product, to make the whole expansion a little bit better, because basically if you had another bad expansion for Destiny, I think a lot of folks would be out. And that's not a fun thing to go and see, because if you have a live service game, think Fortnite, it's very hard to go get people returning to the game. Now, there is sometimes those really big, nice things that people do return to. Good example is like the no build mode, or then we're setting back to season 1. Those are big things that happen on very rare occasions that do usually probably bring old players back for player retention. Destiny 2 doesn't really have that much of a big chance. Maybe Destiny 3 would have a chance as well, but that may be a far ways off. And on top of that too, they've already done a lot of sunsetting. It's a really big barrier of entry to get the game into there, and it's also hard to see. In the meantime, Parsons told staff Bungie would be cutting costs, such as for travel, as well as implementing salary and hiring freezes, and people said. So basically having hiring freezes is horrible. You always want to be expanding and growing your product, and although we have been seeing this kind of, I guess, expansion overall for the COVID times, and now it's a little bit of a de-expansion over here because people aren't playing games as much or spending money as much, it's an all-around hard to go and see. And this is kind of even worse, too, because they had to put the pressure on the employees to try to go get that revenue back up. It's basically saying, hey, like, we're not making really money. You have to be a little bit better at your games. But on Monday morning, the news got worse. Dozens of staffers woke up to mysterious 15-minute meetings that had been placed on their calendars, which they soon learned were part of a mass layoff. Bungie laid off around 8% of its employees, according to a documentation review by Bloomberg. Bungie didn't respond to requests for comment. Employees who were let go will receive at least 3 months of severance, which is good, and 3 months of Bungie paid Cobra health insurance, also good. That's a pretty good value as well. And although other benefits such as expense reimbursements, ended Monday, sending some staff racing to submit their receipts. Laid-off staffers will also receive prorated bonuses, although those who were on a vesting schedule following Sony Group's Corp's acquisition of Bungie in January 2022 will lose any shares that weren't vested as of next month. This is horrible. So, I mean, like, at the same time, there is an okay severance package. 3 months is not the worst, although the job market is a little bit harder right now to find jobs. And on top of that, too, at least having health insurance is also nice as well. But a lot of folks are probably not extremely happy seeing this news. The layoffs are part of a larger money-saving initiative at Sony's PlayStation unit, which has also cut employees at studios such as Naughty Dog, Media Molecule, and its San Mateo office. Now, we're 100% not sure entirely, because some folks are saying that the Bungie CEO was actually the reason why, and also some folks are also saying to it is this PlayStation initiative either way. CD Cohen analyst Doug Cruz wrote in a report Monday that events over the last few days led us to believe that PlayStation is undergoing a restructuring. PlayStation President Jim Ryan announced last month that he plans to resign, and many of the layoffs at Bungie affected the company's support departments such as community management and publishing. Remaining Bungie staff were informed that some of these areas will be outsourced moving forward. So it's even worse news seeing that, number one, normal, say, like American type jobs might be outsourced either to like AI, which that might be a big thing too when it comes to community post, and as well also might be even worse for maybe just outside overseas. I'm not against it per se, but that means a lot of American folks are losing their jobs, and of course if they're trying to go and save money at the end of the day, it might be a little bit on the rougher side. But either way, this is kind of big news, because a lot of folks have been calling out this drama, and people are saying, like, yeah, they're saying IGN. Parsons said the right people had been kept for D2, basically trying to go and trim off the fat for the company. Employees told that player sentiment is at an all-time low. Employees begged for changes to get players back. So these employees are realizing that the overall community is not happy with what's happening, that they're overall sad about the overall state of Destiny, and they want to make it better. Final Shape pre-orders were also lower than expected, and that's always kind of a big indication to see if it's going to do well, and many folks are upset about this big headquarters where they spent a lot of money on it, where they didn't really need to, and it might be eating into the company finances. They also try to go and hide the exact number of the layoffs internally. About 100 people were laid off as mentioned. And of course, as well, all the other delays are also now confirmed too on top of this. Like, it just kind of seems like a lot of big corporate greed. It kind of seems like Sony and more so Bungie don't really know how to make their game better. And of course, they've been kind of just like flowing the entire game with microtransactions a lot. And this has been for the past few years for someone who kind of plays it casually. And this is horrible to go and see. This is almost like a dire situation where we're seeing like this big, almost like I said, escalation, I guess, of the game companies. They're trying to go and cut the fat, trying to cut the corners, and trying to save more money. And a lot of folks are out here are pushing this out, or even the Bungie CEO trying to, on top of this, where they're basically blaming the game. Where they're saying Destiny 2 is underperforming. They had another big game on the work so far. as after like a lot of folks have talked about this too as well, and with all these other big delays too, it's been rough, especially with Marathon being in development since 2019. And it's also the big statement saying today is a sad day at Bungie as we say goodbye to our colleagues who have all made a significant impact on our studio. What those exceptional individuals have contributed to our games and Bungie culture has been enormous and will continue to be part of the Bungie long into the future. So this is nuts. I want to hear your thoughts and comments, and of course, check out our Best Buy brand new promotion down below, #ad, with all of those, but also the Twitter, Twitch, and subscribe if you guys are new. But this is really sad to see in the PlayStation universe, and I want to hear your thoughts and comments on all of it down below.